You found the condo. The price is good, the building looks well kept, and here is the part that really sold you. The HOA dues are low. Lower than the last 3 places you looked at. You close in October, you get the keys, you paint the bedroom, you start telling people about your new place, and then in February, an envelope shows up from the association. Inside is 1 page. It says the building needs structural repair. The reserve fund cannot cover it, and your share is $50,000, due in 90 days. You call a lawyer, because obviously somebody should have told you, and the answer you get is the one nobody is ready for. Nobody broke a rule, nobody hid anything from you. That bill is yours, it is enforceable, and if you do not pay it, the association has more power over your home than you think it does. I am Sarah, I am not a lawyer. I spent 20 years on the closing side of real estate, in title and escrow, at the table where these deals actually get signed. And I watched this exact letter land on people who did everything they were told to do. They got the inspection, they read the disclosures, they asked their agent if there was anything they should know about the building, and their agent said no, and their agent was telling the truth. By the end of this video, you will know exactly how a bill like that can be completely legal, why the low dues that made you feel good about the place were the warning sign, and the 2 documents that show the bill coming months before anyone is required to tell you. Let's get into it. Number 1. What a special assessment actually is, and why cheap dues should scare you. Your monthly dues do 2 jobs. The first is obvious. They pay the ongoing bills, landscaping, insurance, water, the management company. The second job is the one nobody thinks about. A slice of every payment is supposed to go into a reserve fund, which is savings for the big things that wear out on a schedule. The roof, the elevators, the plumbing risers. Those do not fail randomly. They have known lifespans, and a well-run association is setting money aside the entire time. A special assessment is what happens when that savings account is not big enough. It is a one-time bill on top of your dues, levied on every owner, to cover a cost the association cannot otherwise pay. So look at those low dues again. A board can keep dues low in 2 ways. They can genuinely run the place efficiently, or they can simply stop funding the reserves. Both of those look identical on a listing. Both look like a bargain when you are comparing buildings. Only one of them is 1. And here is the uncomfortable part. Boards are made of owners, and owners do not like voting to raise their own dues, especially owners planning to sell in a few years, because a roof that fails in year 12 is not their problem if they are gone by year 8. Underfunding is rarely a conspiracy. It is a very human decision, repeated for decades. So when you are comparing 2 units and one has noticeably cheaper dues, stop treating that as a point in its favor. Treat it as a question you answer before you write the offer. Number 2. Why this is legal, which is the part that catches people. Here is what I hear all the time. Somebody says to me, the seller has to disclose it. That is the law. I would have been told. I need you to stop right there, because that is not how it works. And the gap between what you think that rule says and what it actually says is where the $50,000 lives. Start with the ground rule. When you buy in an association, the assessment power does not come from a contract you sign. It comes from the recorded declaration, the CC&Rs, and those run with the land. They attach to the property, not the person. So the moment the deed goes in your name, you have accepted the obligation. You did not negotiate it. You inherited it. Now the timing. As a general rule, and this does vary by state, if an assessment was already levied before you closed, it is the seller's. If it is levied after you close, it is yours. If it is being paid in installments, the ones that come due after closing are generally yours. Read that again, because the word doing all the work is levied. Levied means formally voted and imposed. And a board can talk about a project for months before it votes. They can get engineering reports, they can take bids, they can sit in meeting after meeting discussing a number everyone in the room knows is coming. None of that is a levied assessment, so there is nothing to disclose because legally nothing has happened yet. If your closing lands in that window, You are the owner of record when the vote finally happens, which means the bill for 30 years of deferred maintenance, spent and skipped by people who already sold and moved away, is now legally yours. Nobody lied to you. That is what makes it so hard to fight. So stop asking, is there a special assessment? That question has a technically true answer that will hurt you. Ask instead, is the board currently discussing, planning, or taking bids on any major repair or capital project? Put it in writing and ask for the answer in writing. Real quick, if this is the kind of thing you want to know before you sign instead of after, I put out a video like this every week. Subscribe to the channel, and let's get right back into it. Number 3, what these actually cost. I want to give you real ranges, because they are bad enough. A routine special assessment runs $1,000 to $5,000 per unit. That is a rough year, not a disaster. Once you get into structural work, the documented range climbs to $20,000 and past $50,000 per unit. I want to be precise with you. $50,000 is not the average assessment. It is the upper end of what major structural work costs an owner. But it is real. It is documented, and it is landing on ordinary people. And then there is Florida, where 6 figures has stopped being unusual. At one association in Ormond Beach, owners were billed over $100,000 each. At a 567-unit building on Hollywood Beach, the association levied $56 million, roughly $99,000 per owner. In Surfside, some owners faced $80,000 to $400,000 per unit. Florida is worth understanding because it tells you what is coming everywhere else. After the Surfside collapse in 2021, which killed 98 people, Florida began requiring milestone structural inspections and reserve studies for buildings 3 stories and up, then required associations to actually fund what those studies found. Florida did not create this problem. It is just the first state that forced the bill to the surface. The deferred maintenance was always there. Every state has buildings running on the same math. Number 4, and this is the one people underestimate. What happens if you cannot pay? If you do not pay a special assessment, the association can put a lien on your home. And an HOA lien generally takes priority over every other lien on the property, except the first mortgage. It sits ahead of a second mortgage. It sits ahead of a home equity line. That lien clouds your title, which means you cannot cleanly sell, and you cannot refinance until it is resolved. So the obvious escape route, just sell the place, is the exact route the lien closes. And in many states, the association can foreclose on that lien even if your mortgage is completely current. You can be perfect with your lender, never miss a payment, and still lose the house over an assessment. The process varies. Some states require a court, some do not. Some set a minimum debt or a cure period first. This is one of the most state-specific areas in property law, so look up your own state's rule. Number 5. The trap that shows up when you try to leave. Fannie Mae keeps a list of condo projects it will not back loans in. As of March of last year, it named more than 5,100 associations, and over 1,400 of them were in Florida. The top 2 reasons a project lands on it are insufficient master insurance and critical repair problems, including failing to meet inspection requirements. Which is to say, the same underlying condition that produces your assessment can also put your building on that list. Here is why that matters more than the assessment itself. If your project is on it, buyers cannot get a conventional Fannie-backed loan on your unit. Your pool of buyers shrinks to cash and specialty lending. So you pay the $50,000 and then discover the unit is worth less and harder to sell than before. That is the compounding version of this problem, and it is the one that traps people. You can check a project yourself. Fannie Mae publishes a condo status finder. Look up the building before you write the offer, not after. Number 6, the 2 documents that tell you everything. The first is the reserve study. Every decent association has one. Skip the narrative and find the number called percent funded. It tells you how much of what should be saved actually is saved. Above 70% is healthy. 30 to 70 is cautionary. Under 30% is a genuine red flag because it means the money for the next big repair does not exist and there is only one place it can come from. One warning on that number: it can be made to look better than it is, depending on which funding target the board picked for itself. So do not just read the percentage. Read what target they set and whether they are actually hitting it. The second document is the one almost nobody asks for, and it would have saved the person in my opening story. Get the board meeting minutes for the last 3 years. Then read them looking for 6 words: assessment, shortfall, repair, bid, funding, emergency. That is where a planned but unvoted assessment is sitting in plain English, months before it becomes a legal fact anyone owes you disclosure about. A board taking bids on a roof in the October minutes is a board that is going to levy for a roof. While you are in there, look for a few other things: multiple special assessments in the last 5 to 10 years, pending litigation, high owner delinquency, frequent turnover of the management company, gaps in the insurance coverage. Number 7, the moves that actually protect you. Request the resale certificate, the reserve study, and at least 12 months of minutes before you submit your offer, in every state that allows it. Your review window after you are under contract is short. Florida gives condo buyers 7 days to rescind, recently extended from 3. Maryland requires the package 15 days before closing, with 7 days to cancel after you receive it. Nobody reads 400 pages of governing documents properly in a week while also arranging a mortgage. Second, look at your contract. In Florida, the condominium writer makes the special assessment question a checkbox for who pays. If that box is left blank, it defaults to the seller. I have seen that box left blank. Make sure somebody filled it in, and make sure it says what you think it says. Third, if anything at all is being discussed, negotiate a holdback in escrow, or a seller credit, or a price adjustment. A board that is bidding a project is not a hypothetical risk. It is a cost with a date on it that has not been announced yet. Let's bring this together. 7 things. Low dues can be a symptom, not a saving. The obligation runs with the land, so you inherit it. The word levied is the entire loophole. Structural work runs from $20,000 past $50,000 a unit. The association's lien outranks almost everything and can cost you the house. A troubled building can also become unsellable. And 2 documents, the reserve study and 3 years of minutes, tell you all of it in advance. Every one of these has the same thing in common. When you buy into an association, you are not just buying the unit. You are buying a share of a building's entire maintenance history, including the years somebody decided to skip. That history was there before you toured the place, and it will still be there the day you close. The only question is whether you read it first. If you want the other side of this, the red flags hiding in the contract itself, I cover exactly that in the video right here.